Hi YouTube, I'm Dan. In today's video, I want to talk about the recent SpaceX IPO. There's obviously been a lot of hype around SpaceX finally going public, but it's not a stock that I actually ever wanted to own long term. It just never really appealed to me. I can see far too many red flags to be comfortable. So when it launched on Friday, I decided to sit on the sidelines and watch the chaos unfold. Except I didn't. Instead, I threw £500 at it, and this is what happened. It's fair to say that SpaceX has become one of the most recognisable private companies in the world. For years, ordinary investors have wanted a way to buy into it. So when this offering was announced, it was obvious there was always going to be a huge amount of interest and hype. The thing is that excitement and valuation don't always go hand in hand. So rather than spending weeks analysing the company from the sidelines and concluding that I wouldn't touch it with a barge pole, I completely ignored my own conclusion and invested £500 anyway. But before we get into that, please remember that this video is just for entertainment and educational purposes only. This is not financial advice or a recommendation to buy any of the stocks mentioned. The value of investments can go down as well as up, so you could get back less than you put in. If you're interested in investing, you should speak to a qualified professional before making any financial decisions. I fired up Trading 212 and pre-ordered my shares on Friday lunchtime, and then waited checking my phone all afternoon to see if the listing had gone live yet. It hadn't. The shares finally started trading at around 5 p.m. Now, buying an IPO can be a bit of a gamble. The first few hours of trading are often driven by hype more than anything else. And that's exactly why I wanted in. Personally, I don't think this is a company I'd want to own for the long term. And later in the video, I'll explain exactly why. But I do see an opportunity when thousands of excited investors all pile into the same stock at once. My plan wasn't to buy and hold this for the next however many years. It was to take advantage of the volatility and hopefully make a quick profit and then get out. So I held the position over the weekend and waited for the market to reopen on Monday. When I checked my account, I was actually sitting on a profit. Not a massive one by any stretch, but a profit nonetheless. Rather than getting greedy and hoping for a bigger move, I decided to take the money and run. I sold out of my shares and walked away with a gain of just over £43, which works out at about an 8.6% return. Not exactly run off to the south of France money, I know, but that was never going to happen, especially over such a short time span. Remember, I only held these shares for effectively 5 regular trading hours. My plan was never to become a long-term SpaceX investor. I just wanted to take advantage of the excitement and hype surrounding the IPO, hopefully catch a bit of the initial momentum and get back out again. And that's pretty much exactly what happened. Would a larger profit have been nice? Yes, of course. But I'm still happy with my return. And really, I'm even happier that I was able to ride the hype train like I'd predicted. I guess the next obvious question, though, is why sell so quickly? If SpaceX is such an exciting company, why not just stick the shares in my portfolio and come back in 10 years? Well, for me, there are a few reasons. The first is that the business still isn't consistently profitable, but that's not necessarily a deal breaker as such, because plenty of great companies spent years losing money while they were investing heavily in future growth. Amazon is the example everyone likes to bring up, but it does mean you're buying into a story rather than a proven earnings machine, and that introduces a lot more uncertainty. The second issue is cash burn. This is a company spending enormous amounts of money to fund its ambitions. Building rockets isn't cheap, nor is launching satellites or developing new technologies. The hope, of course, is that all of those investments eventually pay off. But until they do, the company needs to keep spending huge sums of money. And then there's probably my biggest concern, this isn't really one business. It's more like three businesses wrapped up into a single stock. On one side, you've got the launch business, then you've got the satellite and communication side, and then you've got all of the AI stuff. Each of those businesses has completely different economics and growth rates and pressures. Trying to boil all of that down into one share price is incredibly difficult. Finally, there's the valuation itself. Whenever a company with this much hype comes to market, expectations can become detached from reality. People aren't necessarily buying what the business is worth today. They're buying what they hope it might become in 5 or 10 years from now. And that's where I got uncomfortable. Don't get me wrong, SpaceX could turn out to be an incredible investment over the next decade and make today's price look cheap in hindsight. But for me right now, there are too many unknowns to feel comfortable holding it as a long-term investment. So I was more than happy to take my £43 profit and move on. And that's my SpaceX IPO adventure. I jumped on the hype train, rode it for a weekend and got off 40 odd quid richer. Could I have made more by holding longer? Yeah, maybe. Could I have watched the profit disappear completely? Also maybe. And that's exactly why I was happy to lock in the gain and move on. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe. It would be very much appreciated. And let me know in the comments, would you have sold alongside me, or are you still holding and betting on the long-term story? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.